Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. And in this one, we're going to be starting pretty much from the beginning of AIN3701. So if this is a module that you are currently studying and that you're currently busy with, then I highly suggest that you work through this video in quite a bit of detail. The reason for this is that it's going to lay the foundation for what's going to be a very crucial module in your studies. And you want to make sure that you've approached this with the correct foundation so that it doesn't catch up with you at the back end where you're then not sure about certain things and certain principles which you should have been able to apply at the beginning or at the primary stage of when you were starting the module. And often I've found that when it comes to AIN, a lot of students tend to be a bit more wishy-washy, if that's an acceptable phrase to use, because I think when it comes to your main modules like FAC, MAC, AUE, tax, you guys pretty much have a grounded approach over there. You know what the module looks like. There is quite a bit of material available. If I'm honest, I think there's a bit too much material available to some students, which actually has the opposite effect of preparing students. It tends to make students get more confused than anything. But when it comes to AIN, it's sort of like the opposite, right? You guys don't really have a lot of things to refer to. So students then tend to struggle with this module, and the study guide is what obviously needs to be your first point of reference. But in order for it to be your first point of reference, you need to make sure that you've used it in the first place. And this is something that I've noted with students, which actually is quite lacking. Okay, so we're going to go through all of this, through the entire study guide. Obviously, I am doing a course on AIN 3701. Some of my videos will be on YouTube, for the benefit of everyone. But if you guys would like to join the course and actually be a part of the course, then you're more than welcome to do that. The link to the course will be in the description below the video. Right, so moving on from that, right, let's get into the video, right, because the purpose of this video is on computational thinking, right? So before we can actually get into the nitty-gritty of computational thinking, we need to firstly understand what computational thinking is in the first place. So if we zoom into what the study guide has to say, right, it gives us a reference to bite size, right, which says that computational thinking is, this is more of a definition rather, right, and it defines it as the process of identifying a clear, defined, step-by-step solution to a complex problem, okay? And that is something that is key for you to understand, because it sounds all wonderful and great having the technical definition over there, but in plain old English, computational thinking pretty much refers to a step-by-step solution to a problem, right? And a process that needs to be applied in order to solve a particular problem. Okay, so that is what computational thinking revolves around. Okay, it revolves around identifying what a problem is and then what is required to actually solve that problem. So let's take an example of this, right? Let's say that you are in an organization and you would like to determine the profit for the year. Okay? Or let's just take it even in your own business. Let's say you, or in your own personal finances, right? You have a budget every single month and you would like to know, okay, how much of money do I have available to me every single month? Or, am I short of money, right? So computational thinking would, be applied to this in a way to say, okay, let's say, how do you determine whether you have money or not? You'd say, what is your total, income less your total expenses, and that's going to give you your income, or your money that you're short of at the end of the month. So how then do you arrive to that? What would the calculation for that be? What would the process for that be? You take all of your income items, add them together, have a total income item. You'd have your total expenditure items, right? Or your individual expenditure items rather. Add them all up together, and you'd have your total expenditure items. And then your total income less your total expenditure items will then give you your net, surplus or your shortfall at the end of the month. Right? In the case of a profit, it would either be the profit or loss. But you guys get the the point of what we're saying, right? That this is, your step by step. What do you do? What is the process? So if something involves a process, then computational thinking technically can be applied to that in some way or extent, because that is the the logic surrounding it. So understanding computational thinking isn't something that's very difficult. It's when you really break it down into its elements, it's quite simple to understand. But this is the important thing that you need to make sure that you've grasped. You know the concept, you know exactly what it's talking about, and how we can start applying it. And in the videos and throughout the course, actually, we will be touching on this a lot. But the key focus point right now is that you don't look at this as some abstract concept that's only linked when it comes to information technology, and you start revolving this around that only. Because the moment you start boxing it in that way, that's when it's going to actually start looking and feeling a lot more difficult than it really is. And that's what you want to be trying to really avoid. Okay. So again, computational thinking, and this would be, your homework at this point, right? To actually go onto Google and to start looking up and researching examples of computational thinking, so that you actually understand this concept in practical terms, rather than just studying it, as something theoretical. So that is your homework exercise. That is the active part of this course that you need to do. Because remember, we're not going to only focus on theory. The theory is great to understand, but you need to be able to apply it practically as well. So highly suggest that you go onto Google, you go onto the internet, and start looking up examples of computational thinking and start expanding on that entire process. There are also other videos that are uploaded onto my YouTube channel with regards to that, so keep an eye out for those. But in addition to that, there are also, additional material that will be available through the course, just to enhance and clarify the explanation. Okay, so that is computational thinking. Not going to look at it in more detail than that and discuss it more on that. The next video that we will look at will go a lot more deeper into the concept of computational thinking, and it will revolve around the pillars of computational thinking. Okay, so definitely something for you guys to think about at this point and to start looking at how you can apply it practically. Okay, but this is it for this video, and we'll see you in the next one.